Welcome to another episode of the CAPB Podcast. For today's episode, delighted and honoured to welcome Hugh and Nick, the founders of Trident Military Cigars. Good evening, men.
Howdy.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. You know, it's nice. I know you're both very busy, doing your own work as well as reserves, as well as running the business. So it's nice to find some time to come on the podcast. So thank you.
No, thank you, mate.
Yes, and I've been watching for a while, and supposedly you messaged me years ago.
Just a year ago. It's all right. Just a year ago. It's all right. It's all right.
I'm going to blame I'm going to blame our PR lady, who just happens to be Hugh's missus.
Longer general, mate. She'll have your eyes clean out, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take it.
It's my fault. It's 100% got to be my fault.
Hey, you're here now, and that's the most important thing. So, as we start the podcast all the time, I say, if your career, we'll go to Nick first. If your career was a highlight reel, appreciate you're still serving. What are the key points, the things that really stand out for you, Nick?
I think the first part. So I'm 4 tours of Iraq and a tour of Kosovo. In my career with the Royal Regiment Fusiliers. The key part would be the first tour was the invasion of Iraq, liberation of Iraq, whatever you want to call it. The obviously the thumbs up poster is pretty famous, I know, from that side. After that, I did a COP tour in Kosovo, which I had a fantastic time. Came back, was then in anti-tank platoon for the further 10 years, and absolutely loved anti-tanks. It's the best platoon going. I'm sure all the other platoons will say the same. Anti-tanks is a great platoon, full of characters. Yeah, travelled. First 5 years I spent 12 to 14 weeks skiing every year, battalion ski team. So I was a tracksuit soldier for the first part, and I then popped my knee on the 5th year. And I think through my teddy out the pram, wanted to become because the battalion wasn't giving me what I wanted to do, and I think obviously they don't. And jumped through the hoops for their controllers, all the way to the end of that as a dyslexic, and they went, you need to be able to understand a map, and you keep getting all the letters mixed up, so you're not safe. And I was like, yep, no problem, happy with that, that's a good one. Threw my teddy out the pram again, wanted to become a helicopter pilot, because I identify as an Apache attack helicopter. Failed the medical on that, and then kind of then realised it's probably time to leave regular service, and then left in 2013. Joined the reserves as a rifleman. Rifles in London, a fantastic regiment. The Rifles are an alley bunch. They have their own way of doing things, and then done lots of cool stuff with them, lots of deployments, exercises, Canada, America, Denmark, and then the last 2 years, the cap badge has changed to the Coldstream Guards, so I'm now a cap badge collector, but to be truthful, have not been in for a long time, due to trying to get this business off the ground and doing everything else. So Trident Military Cigars takes priority, along with my other business, where I sell armoured vehicles to police forces and do training, but that's a bizarre other comical one. And then I also do security as well, so definitely got ADHD. That's me, military. 25 years.
Mate, that's a massive military career with more cap. I mean, I was trying to keep up with the cap badges and the trades, but hey, mate, if it's not right, move to what is right, isn't it? That's how it should be. You shouldn't stay somewhere that isn't giving you what you need in your military career.
Yeah. The Royal Regiment Fusiliers is by far the best regiment in the infantry. I know there's going to be a lot of people going, ooh, and I didn't. However, what I do say to the rifles lads is, once a Fusilier, always a Fusilier. However, I'm a very, very proud rifleman. The guard stuff, I'm jumping through the hoops as we go. So but proud to be part of the rifles. They were a fantastic bunch.
Mate, it's a fair one. And Hugh, you are also ex-infantry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when Nick says pull up a sandbag, he means pull up a dust bag, because I was nearly that's 10 minutes. That I was and honestly, that's really good for Nick. So I'm very proud of him. I'll get him a beer at the weekend. Yeah, mine's a lot shorter and more condensed than that. So served in the parachute regiment for just over 4 years. A very short and sharp career. Joined when I was like 20. Passed out when I was 21. Did like a lot of stuff that Nick did, like anti-tanks. Went for patrols, got into patrols, got kicked out of patrols in 3 months because I got drink driving. Then went to C Company, then went for PF. Got like 20 days to train for PF, spanked in on the hills, and then fucking threw my toys out the pram and was like, fuck this is stupid. Because like battalion at that time was going through it was like a bit of a cock off. We had 2 special forces fucking COs that were just like, oh, let's do a 50 mile or let's do a fucking 60 mile. They were just dicking off basically. A lot of the blokes were Fredders at that time, and were fucking doing a lot of like TFL shit. Fucking, it was class. The fucking blokes are animals. I love them. Then I went on to 144 Airborne Medical Regiment, where probably amassed a further 3 months, even though it was like 4 years. Became CNT3 and CNT2, and then left to pursue Trident Military Cigars, realistically, because I was taking up a medic PID from fucking like a paramedic that actually wanted to do it all the time, and I felt really bad, to be fair. So that's me. But I think probably one of the best points from my side was turning me from an angry little gentleman into still an angry gentleman, but can control it a bit better, which is nice. So I just bottle it all up now and just fucking go on a walk and have a cigar instead. Yeah.
mate, it's fascinating. It's fascinating, actually, like the whole what the military does to people and from all the backgrounds. And I think it's a really interesting one that it does, because a lot of us join because it was the right thing to do at the time. I mean, I joined in 1998. No, I know, I don't look old enough, but yeah, I joined in 1998. Oh, please.
You do, mate. You do.
20, is it?
I'm 250 2507 911. That's me.
251.
That's it, mate. 3020. Wind your necks in.
Mate, here's one for you. Where did you two meet? Was it in London with the reserve?
I was literally about to say, like, tell us about Trident Military Cigars, like what it is and how you two met, because your careers don't seem to have crossed paths, or have they?
So like obviously Nick's like a fucking boomer basically. So we ended up meeting. So we got into cigar smoking. Like I smoked before I joined the mill. Every now and again with a brother when he went away. Like Nick used to do bits and bobs as well. He can tell you his saddest story. But we ended up meeting at like a cigar event. So we have a mutual friend of ours, Andy Jansen, who's like a great bloke, mega guy. Actually took me through my like close protection course. But then he was like, I should come to this rooftop terrace bar, which is called Century, and then like meet some of the gang, like some of them ex-mill, you might hit it off sort of thing. And we were chatting. And then towards the end of the night, we basically started at opposite ends of the table, and then we got closer and closer together, and we were just fucking spinning dits basically, and got on like a house on fire. So yeah, I was going off about my fucking tour of fucking Kenya, and Nick was going off about his several tours of fucking Iraq and Kosovo and everything like that.
I don't think
It was
I don't think
That's-
but then me
I was just
arguing,
giving-
I don't think the Fusiliers also wear a beret, so in theory not a hat, but as a reservist rifleman, yes, wear a hat. So yeah, so there's always been some great banter between the two of us. So and that's where I think that where we've left the regulars and come into Civvy Street and have that close military bond that what you had back in camp and in between the sections and taking the piss out of each other. In theory, it's never stopped for us. And I think the banter has always been there. So and I think we're lucky in that regards to have each other to bounce off of as jumping through the hoops with that military sides.
So, I want to ask a question. That obviously we know who you are, Trident Military Cigars, but what is for the listeners that may not know what the business is? What is Trident Military Cigars, and how did you come up with the name?
Oh fuck it.
Should I?
Well, ideas. Definitely not. He says this every time. But yeah, at this Century meeting, we basically met up there, and then we got talking, and then a couple of years later on, we were I think it was 2019, but we got together and it was oh, wouldn't it be great if there was a cigar for veterans that they could one, align with as their cigar, and then two, we could give back. It could be affordable, and then that's where the idea kind of stemmed from. And then we've gone through probably a year, fucking 2 years of blend testing, getting all sorts lined up, spending money that we shouldn't have spent and wasted it, and fucking all sorts. But Nick can tell the Trident Military Cigars side, because I know he does. He does telling. He's been practicing at every event for the past year.
Between me and Hugh, and I'm good with history in the army, Gump, and I really love that bit. Hugh's really good at all the Spanish tongue and everything, the cafetera and everything with all the flavors. Things, and so he's really good with that side. So obviously when we're together, and it's brilliant. But Trident Military Cigars. Trident is Latin for a three-tooth fork. And then the logo also has some wings around the side of it, which is the wings of Saint Michael, the patron saint of them who serve. So part of that, you serve, we serve you, and that kind of thing. And then the Trident side has got nothing to do with the Navy or American Special Forces. It's a play on words because of the tri-service. So Army, Navy, Air Force for the UK side. So that's kind of why we went for the Trident. Lady Britannia holds a trident in her left hand with a shield in her right. And it is a very British item, actually. When you look at Lady Britannia and the trident, it's a pretty cool tool. Yeah, so that's the Trident logo, and that's how that kind of was all put together with all the bits. So we everything with inside our boxes and the cigars and the everything has a story. Like being back in the army, your cap badge, your uniforms, and the reason why it is done at a particular size, shape, off the collar, inch, or whatever, it all has a story for the reasons why. And say for us, with Trident, everything that is within inside the box has a story, and there is a reason why it is there. It is not just it looks good in this position, let's put it there, let's paint it that way. And the go a lot of back and forth with me and Hugh. It's never been a one person going, I'm having it this way. And that's what's made Trident grow and produce 4 fantastic sticks now. Even though 3 of them are the same blends, just different shapes and sizes, there actually is a different smoke. And then we are constantly evolving taste palettes, profiles, cigars, sizes, shapes, whips. I don't think they're going to be big ones. I know small ones, and that kind of led on to the development of our 4th stick, the Petit Panatella, which was a great back and forth with me and Hugh over. I wanted to go big Cuban, kind of thick size, and Hugh was like, "No, shut up, Nick. I know the weather's shit. We don't have the time to sit outside and sit there smoking a stick for an hour. We need something small." And he was 100% right. And we then produced the Petit Panatella, which is a great stick.
What really intrigues me is where do you even start to go, do you know what, you've had this idea, you've been bouncing ideas across the table, and then all of a sudden, like, where do you start? Do you just go to a cigar factory and go, give me cigar? Or how do you even, like, I don't understand it. I genuinely don't understand how you actually get into it.
Yeah, like I think like from when we started, like a lot's changed now. So like if you go back to when we first met, we used a lot of our network that we met through the cigar world. So like we knew like business owners in central London, we knew like sommeliers, we knew like the GM of Davidoff for the UK. So like we knew all these right people, but we just couldn't connect the dots, and we didn't have the time nor the resources to be able to do that. So we had a bit of money behind us where we were like, okay, we can use this amount of money to then go for it. I think it was like 20 grand each, something like that. Originally when we first started, we fucked up a lot, but we'll get into that later on. But it's like we had a friend who was an ex-Golden Keys concierge that was like, fuck this shit, I am out of here. And basically we put it all in his trust. And he was like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to create a wave in this market and then hit the ground running. And he got out there and got on the piss for 7 months, basically. So we were like tasking him to like go to cigar factories, speak on our behalf, send us samples, that sort of stuff. And then eventually he went to Nicaragua, which is like part of the South Americas. You've got like Colombia to the south of it. To the north, you've got like Honduras, El Salvador, and like fucking God knows what Ecuador a bit further up, I think. But basically, if you like look on the world, like it's exactly in line with Cuba, like is it the latitude or the longitude? God knows. But it all aligns basically. So it's a great place for growing tobacco. It's got the right environment. It's not too wet. It's not too dry. He got to a place called Esteli in Nicaragua, which is like, I would say it's like the industrial north, like back like in the 1900s. It's where all the manufacturing of tobacco goes. It might all be grown outside of that. So you've got realistically like 3 or 4 different regions, like Condega, Jalapa, Ometepe, and another place I can't remember the name of. But they all like grow there in Nicaragua, then ship it to Esteli to then produce and roll tobacco. There's like 2 different methods that you can do. You can grow your own in your own fields that you own. Costs a lot of money. It's very timely to get it right. Or you can buy in like bales of hay, which a lot of factories do. They outsource from all over the world. And like for our cigars, for example, we use Ecuadorian Habano, which is like basically Ecuador's quite a high altitude area. So it's about 3,000 feet or meters above sea level, but the cloud coverage there is awesome because for wrapper, you want it to be quite soft. Don't have a lot of veins through it. It's nice to touch, nice to feel. But if you've got the more sun, the more it's going to dry out and cause wrinkles within that leaf, basically. But yeah, in Ecuador, it's like living in Manchester, basically. It's fucking cloudy, like 80% of the time. And then,
but not as dangerous.
Dry humidity, you know what I mean? So it's very good. But then our filler leaves, which is like the inner of you've got like your wrapper, your binder, which binds it all together, but your wrapper and your binder have all the flavouring. That's where you get the majority of this from. and then your filler leaves are to add volume and body, basically. So if you were to look at like a normal tobacco plant, you've got at the top bit, you've got like the Ligero at the top, which basically they leave to the final point to crop, because it allows all the nutrients to go up and it allows more times. The longer that tobacco plant gets in the sun, basically the more strength and the more flavours are going to be in there. You've then got Viso, Seco, and then Velado on the bottom. And the Velado is basically all like filler leaves and that sort of stuff. Now, you could literally type in Cigar Factory on Instagram and fucking find like 20 and then ping them and be like, hey, I want 1,000 cigars rolled for myself. And you can do that in Colombia, Ecuador,
Costa Rica,
like anywhere,
Africa.
basically. Yeah, Africa. Yeah, South Africa. There's a gentleman called Badger Cigars that uses like leaves from like that part of the world. It's crazy. So if you can just do your research into that, you could easily set one up. The only downside is that in the UK, like, we're crippled by red tape and legislation. So you've got to register your cigars. You've got to register each blend, each size of your cigar. You then pay a fee on top. And then not to mention, like, the duty on the cigar is absolutely ridiculous. And, like, currently me and Nick are battling with track and trace legislation. Fucking HMRC are coming after us. Fucking all angles saying you need to be... Basically, by 2027, May, everything has to be tracked from the manufacturer all the way through to the shops. And then as we're classed as, like, an importer in a shop, we then might need to invest into equipment that's going to cost us like 30k, but we can't afford that.
Yeah.
Technically, we could be out of business by 2028, so it might be a nice RIP podcast, to be fair. And then
I'll tell you something, Hugh, right? I'm just going to say this, right? Your knowledge on, like, I'm not even joking. I know very little about tobacco, very little about cigars.
Yeah.
Although I know what a nice one tastes like versus what an awful one tastes like. But it fascinates me that the level of detail you've just spoke about the tobacco plant itself. It also, like what Paul said, is like, how do you go about like a blend? You know what I mean? It was like, I have this vision in my head, and you like getting cigars and like going, well, this is this. Let's make one.
Yeah.
And let's try that. Is that all right? Bit of that, bit of... Do you know what I mean? Almost like a Breaking Bad scenario till you've like fucking got it.
That's literally what Nick just did in March, basically. So we went over to Nicaragua, and we were sat there in the factory blend testing from like 9 till like 5 at night. But you would literally just be like, okay, I'll take a bit of Ligero, I'll take a bit of this, I'll take a bit of different regions, because you get different tastes. So like Ometepe, for example, is a volcanic island, but the nutrients within volcanic ash and like soil are insane. So you're going to get a lot of flavour in there. But then if you go to like somewhere like Condega, which is a mountainous region and which is well filtered, it's going to be less strong, but then it could be more peppery, more spicy. So you get different elements. So it's a lot like, like whiskey creation, using different barrels to get different tastes and stuff. And you can do that. Some people are doing that with cigar leaves now as well. They're throwing them in whiskey barrels and stuff. Just experiment. But like me and Nick were going through, I think on the peak of our blend testing day, we were on 18 cigars we'd smoked in a day. And I just said to Nick, I was like, I can't taste anything anymore. It's all the same. Like, I couldn't.
It was brilliant.
Like, you can pick up flavours and stuff and little twinges of this, but it was like, I was blasted, mate. I was like, fuck this, but.
So
I've got a question for both. I've got a question for you both. Just where is probably your most memorable cigar moment? What is your most memorable cigar moment?
Fucking hell. I mean, it's tough, to be fair.
2000.
So I've only ever smoked 2.
You've only smoked 2. See, you're doing it wrong. I know. So here's the reason why people are doing it wrong. I don't think it's because when you smoke. Okay. And this is the argument. I don't think with it actually. So you smoke a cigarette. All right. You try a cigar and you wear a pipe. Okay. So you smoke a cigarette, you inhale it, it goes into your lungs, and then breathe it out. A cigar, you try, and you inhale, but you stop mid throat. Okay, and it's all about all the flavors within inside your mouth. Okay, and the slather and everything, and getting the taste of it, and that's where the enjoyment comes from. And then also playing off a fantastic whiskey or a nice wine or so on. I'm not a wine drinker, but the whiskeys and rums, and you play off them too. Okay, and you every time you take a sip, you cleanse your palate. You get rid of all the crap out of the smoke, and goes, and then you take another draw again, and you then get them flavors, and they play off of each other, and that's the great part. And I think if you've ever done whiskies with chocolates, now that's a really good one to do. And I think dark chocolates and cigars are very much that way. With a pipe, you wear a pipe. So, funnily enough, the army has a set of drill a drill pan that shows you how to wear a pipe. So pipe in the mouth, pipe comes down, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 up, 2, 3 down, 2, 3 up, 2, 3 left, right, left, and you wear a pipe. You don't smoke a pipe, and that's the difference between them three. And a lot of people get it confused and say, "Hey, cigars, you just smoke a cigar. You don't smoke a cigar. You try a cigar." And it's the flavor profile of which actually is you're playing with, and you're trying to get out of the stick in the environment you are at, the company you're with, and the drink that you're enjoying. And hopefully good conversation.
So with that being said, where is your best trying of a cigar?
Okay.
Yes.
4 returned back from Kosovo with a Independence Day cigar, stood in the officers' mess by the bar, smoking this giant Independence cigar, and then somebody coming up to me and saying, "The RSM's just seen you smoking that cigar," and the colonel's asked, "Who the fuck is that?" And the Razman going, "Well, that's young Fusilier Preston. I like his stuff."
I love it.
Hugh, what about you?
I've got 2. So like the first one would be, so we've just gone through the painful fucking process of like getting the blend right, getting it all tested, and then we finally got the cigar like good to go. And I think we'd got the invoice through from HMRC for like 38 grand in duty, which was wrong. So they like basically tobacco duty is priced in £433 per kilogram. So like if you think like an average Robusto cigar is about 10 to 13 grams. So like a lot of what like our sales, for example, are Robusto cigars £20.50. The duty on that is probably about £6.50 worth of cigar. Then you've got VAT on top. So like realistically, we make fuck all per our cigars, which is probably a bad business model for our core line, which it is a bad business model to be fair, but we still need to provide a fucking affordable one. But for me, it'd be like that first. So Nick was on the phone for fucking weeks battling with him, basically saying, "We're not paying 38 grand because you've weighed the entire shipment and not the tobacco weight." And then when we got it through, it dropped to like 12 grand. So I was like, fucking hell, thank fuck for that. We got them in, fucking had a story together, and genuinely like this, that was the oh fuck moment of, I hope this business works, because if not, we've got 6,000 cigars just sat in the fucking humidors, basically. So that was like the oh fuck moment. And then the second one was probably like recently got engaged. And then Missy's going to love this, but fucking recently got engaged. And then obviously afterwards had a nice cigar to celebrate. So brownie points with a longer general, and then fucking brownie points for Nick, to be fair, as well. So it's a win-win.
Mate, I think it's an interesting one. I'll tell you why. Because as I say, you guys are cigar smokers or triers.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you understand it, you are conditioned, you know a good cigar, a bad cigar, probably got a nice collection. And now, as I say, you sell cigars. Like, I've never smoked. I've never sort of been in that space, but I've smoked a couple of cigars. Paul smoked a couple of cigars. There are people, probably everyone has smoked a cigar because it's a key moment. And that cigar could have been an awful cigar, but the moment was really important. Now, one of the cigars I smoked was I was doing counterterrorism for around 9-month tour in Yemen. And there was only a very small team of us doing it. And we would support the embassy and all the rest of it. But basically, the embassy accommodation, they all had to be withdrawn from Sana'a because the threat level went high up. So the ambassador there sort of hosted everybody to say farewell to DFID and all these other sort of NGOs that were working there. And he had like a wine cellar and a whiskey cellar and was like, basically take what you want because it's all going to go. So we grabbed a couple of bottles of whiskey and stuff and we were going to take stuff. And he had some cigars. So we had an opportunity to have a cigar. Apparently they were good cigars. Genuinely, I wouldn't be able to tell you. What I would be able to tell you was that moment was really cool because it was like in Sana'a, in a country that was like, we were doing some, like there was some stuff happening there. But it was a moment where we were just sat outside having these big cigars thinking, this is mad, this. Do you know what I mean? So that moment was special because of the cigar. Couldn't tell you how much a cigar costs, mate. But that moment was really special.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mine's not as alley as Matt's. Mine was in 2006. I was on the border of Kuwait and Iraq, New Year's Eve. As it goes over to New Year's Day, just that was it. I always remember that. Always remember that. Because and I can tell you, I'm not being a cigar connoisseur like yourselves. It was a shite cigar because it was just like literally like stripping the back of my throat, and I'm like, this is fucking horrendous.
You're
yeah.
For fucking 2 months. That's like dry as fuck.
Like 100%. Yeah.
But no,
but it is an interesting
around that. Like that's kind of where like Trident came from as well. Like we're mad on the mental health side of things, and I think like I struggled getting out because it was that disconnection from like the family, right? So the boys were everything. We did everything together. Fucking fuck, fight, shag, whatever. Fucking we do everything. So going away from that and then messaging them and being like, "Oh, you coming to London? Like, you can stay at mine." It's like 0 comms for a month because of fucking here, there, and everywhere. But that's where like me and Nick connected, and then we'd start meeting up like once a week to just decompress. Fucking like, oh shit week, yeah. The cigar helped us talk about it rather than the natural route of getting fucked up and absolutely mean bats and quinning at 5 a.m. being like, I still feel like shit, but it was a good fucking, I needed a lash basically. So it's away from the booze to get onto the cigars. But then like we found that as well. Like people have been messaging us being like, hey, these are fucking, I've had a shit week. Amazing. And then so we kind of sit, I guess, in that like one, like a gift, but then also our own brand because people are now coming back to us. Originally, I think we would have started off as gifts to give for like remembrance or for birthdays or Christmas, Father's Day, because that's what people associate it with. But the more that people are like trying us, and we've got a couple of 100 customers that just keep coming back to us every year, like a couple of times a year, and they're just like, yeah, I'll take another box. And fucking like they're now having our cigars to like chill out. And that's what we're probably most proud of, to be fair. Well, I am anyway. I don't know about Nick, but
I think that's phenomenal, mate. And I'll 2 seconds. I was going to say, so this year, right? And we talk about remembrance, and I'll come off this, and I will then go into your website, and I will order some cigars because Paul and I this year are marching at the cenotaph. Nice. Now, do you know what I mean? But between us, we served 35 years and probably about 15 operational tours. So it's like to go at the cenotaph, and we're marching with the Afghan veteran community. And to have a cigar at Cenotaph or to take some, even like you just said there, just to give out, I think that would be like, I think even though it's not happened yet, I think that would be one of the moments. Do you know what I mean? The way you've just said it.
I'll meet you on Horse Guards and I'll cut them for you. And then I'll light them for you. And then I'll be there with you to enjoy that one. And because I will be there as well. And I don't do the marching bit, but I stand there in support of them guys who stand in Horse Guards. They graft, and then I go off and.
I'd love that.
Because Nick's a TikToker, that's why, and I'm not about the social media platform.
I mean, honestly. So, cigars aside, right? cigars aside for a minute, what's like the biggest lesson you've learned in business since you started there, Trident?
Don't open a
Well,
tobacco
Nick.
company in the UK.
Right.
Basically, we to be truthful, jumping through the hoops of what we've done phenomenal. We've learned some great lessons. However, the UK, Europe is in a smoking is bad and that kind of thing, and you just where it's more of a mental health thing for us. And the whole side of the laws and legislations that have come in are very much against tobacco products. OTPs are the tobacco products, which we sit into the cigar industry. We are actually only 2.5% of the tobacco industry. Big tobacco brand or big tobacco is the rest of it, and that is your tailor-made cigarettes and your vapes. OTPs, pipe tobacco, rolling tobacco is 2.5%, and the whole industry as a whole is 3 billion a year. Obviously, the majority of that is taxed, and a lot of that goes to the NHS to deal with obviously the obvious of being smoking. So, is it a bad thing? Yeah, smoking is a bad thing, but it's taking your life worse. I think so. So yeah, starting a cigar business in the UK, not so great. And starting a cigar business in the US, where they are extremely pro the veteran brands, service, cigars. Yeah, that would probably have been the better place to jump into the market.
Yeah.
What about you, Hugh? Same?
Yeah, I'd probably say like we originally when we set up the business, we were to and from with a lot of ideas, and I'm glad like we didn't go with some of the ideas because they were fucking horrific. But when it comes down to like blends and like box ideas, like we fucking genuinely have some like really good ideas locked up. What I'm finding now is that we've like gone so like all the cigars sat in the humidors behind me are like stock in the UK. So I wish I had more of a business understanding of being like cash flow is king, because within the market world or product world, like more new products is going to keep people interested and keep people talking about you. Whereas we've had our like blends and like we've had to like really manage like funding to like re-roll and then import again, and then literally like we're getting money in now, and like what we've got is basically, I would say that it kind of works in thirds. So it's like a third for product, a third for duty, shipment and legislation, and then a third for profit. But if it's taken me 2 or 3 years to sell 10 or 20,000 cigars, what we should do is compress the amount of cigars that we're actually importing to increase cash flow, and then we can be like, cool, we know that we sell 4,000 to 5,000 a year, but then actually we want to drop a new line per year because we've got probably 7 blends and we've got 3 really good ideas that we want to fucking roll with that are going to essentially like have a bit of variety. They've got a bit of age to them. We're using some like really hard to find leaves, which is going to be a bit more of a premium smoke. So then you're like, fucking hell, like we could then become a really big brand with a lot of variety. And like some stuff will fail and some stuff will succeed, but then it's like, okay, if one's failing, we can still offload those, sell and then discontinue that line, but then keep what works.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest learning lesson for me. And it's like, probably the other thing as well is just fucking go for it. Like a lot of people are always trying to make the stars align. Like even me and the missus, like we had a property company together and we're waiting for that perfect property to come along that's a shithole and it's only cost $5,000 to renovate and you're going to make 400k on the latter end. Like it, just fucking go for it. If you're making profit, you're making profit. If you're breaking even, you're breaking even. But the business is going to continue going as long as you keep moving forward. It's like you boys, you know, like you fucking set up the podcast and then wait a couple of years. And then you're like, no, let's do it. Let's fucking go now. And then your first podcast you said was shit. But then now You've nailed it. The platform's right.
It's even shitter, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting there, lads.
The episode. It's like you got to go for it, haven't you? It's like you can't just sit there and think about the doom and gloom. Fucking go for it. Like you can set up a business, register it, limited, get a bank account with less than fucking 500. So like,
I think,
do it.
mate, it's such good advice, Hugh. And there are so many of our businesses who have come on the podcast who say the same thing. And I think they've got a passion, they've got an idea, and it's just taking that step. And like you said, in this day and age, Mark Ormrod said on his podcast, we had him on, he said, if you've got a smartphone and a thumb, he said, you can start a business, you can generate an idea and you can do something because the technology is where it is. And it was like, it makes you think that, you know, you don't have to just sit and procrastinate on ideas. And I think you boys, as I say, you've not like picked an easy industry to move into, but you're 5 years in and you've got an incredible reputation where, like I mentioned to a mate of mine who's nothing to do with the military, a guy called Max Watts, and I know he listens to the podcast, who is a cigar guy. He understands cigars, has his own humidor, all that kind of stuff. And he knows about Trident cigars, has no link to the military, and he rates the cigar. And I was like, we're going to get them on the podcast. He was like,
give me that man's address.
I will send you Max's address because he's ordered from you. Yeah. And he ordered because he had there was a special occasion he was going. He goes, I want to take good cigars. And he was like, I'm taking these. And it was just a conversation we had. The fact that you're a veteran owned brand and he didn't know that. And I think that's class. Do you know what I mean? So you're not just veterans supporting your brand. You are a credible cigar brand. And that's immense, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah. That's so good. Like even that alone is like me and Nick, like we like when someone says like even one time I was like, oh, I have a cigar and there was like, oh, we smoking. I was like, oh, just like one of my own. And they were like, oh, is that fucking Trident? I was like, oh, fucking hell, yeah. Like genuinely, I was like, oh shit, have we made it? You know what I mean? It was like there's a few moments like that, and like hearing stuff like that is awesome because like at times we're like fucking churning it out against each other. We've had enough. The legislation stacking up against us, and we're like, fuck this, you know, like. But then we've even said like we'd ride it down to fucking nothing, you know, like rather than hand it over to someone that wants to buy us out of the industry, and we'd rather struggle to still provide cigars for fucking like 100 people than like give it over to some fucking twat that's going to charge it 45, 50 quid a cigar and just profit monger basically.
The great thing is, if it all goes horribly wrong, me and Hugh and the business and that dies, me and Hugh have got 2 humidors each. I've got the same as Hugh and at home, 2 humidors full of cigars. So both of us are happy men to the end. You can stick your tax up your arse, and all of these are paid for. We produced and made and came up with a great cigar. And I sit there sometimes and I'll smoke my. Obviously, we smoke our own blends. And just go, fucking hell, we did this. What a bloody good stick. So yeah, there's some great sticks in that humidor behind Hugh, and the same as mine. But so if it all goes horribly wrong, fuck them. But the other part is, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So you got to.
I don't envisage it going wrong. You're going from strength to strength. I do want to ask. Obviously, we're coming towards the end of where we kind of wrap up the pod now. I think we may have touched on it before. What's next? Like, what is the next big thing? Or can you say, or basically, what's next for Trident Military Cigars?
Nick, you want to go? I know Nick gets excited, so it's like.
So there is obviously a next blend coming. We're currently down a rabbit hole of between 2 countries, which we want to produce the next cigar from. That will be our next year release, and the ideas behind it will make every squaddy smile when they open it, and every non-squaddy, and I think civilian, when they look at it, they'll be like, oh, this is strange, and this is different. But they'll also look at it in in the modern take of how tobacco products are going. It's a very unique project that we've got, and the troops will laugh, and there'll be a bit of banter with it all, but so
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the other side as well is like we've spoken about like the charity aspect. So we donate to Scottish Little Soldiers and Combat Stress at the moment, and we do like £1 for the petite panatella tins. We do 10% for the boxes. However, what we want to kind of do is rather than single out products and different things, it's going to be like literally like £1 per cigar. So like it'll be, because we know that we sell like, it'll be one more trackable and more open to people rather than being like, rather than have people question, like, because we donate, like, I think last year we did like 2-3 grand, which was amazing, which is, you know, better than nothing, but it's one of those of, rather than isolate boxes and box sales and petite panatelle, we just want to do across the range, it'll just be like £1 per cigar, and then everybody knows, like, oh, cool, 6k, oh, they've sold 6,000 cigars, that's great, you know, like, fucking, and then it'll actually generate more money for the charities, which is better. But it's just figuring out, like, the angle and how we price that into the cigar and that sort of stuff. But now that, again, like when we first started, getting into shops and stuff was very difficult, but now where people know us, and I think even the shops would appreciate that more because we can sell in singles and that sort of stuff as well. So it's like figuring out a win-win for everyone. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to as well.
I think it's brilliant, mate. I think supporting like charities like Scottish Little Soldiers, which is immense, and Combat Stress.
That's so good, yeah.
I think it's a mess, and I really like Nick, and I've never thought of it like that. I drink single malt whiskey. I've got about 40 odd bottles here. I love whiskey, right? Big fan. Like as well, North Wales, by the way, shout out North Wales, Aberfalls, Penderyn, Brecon, Aberfalls, new distillery in North Wales. Really nice. But it's like, I enjoy it for an occasion. And I love having a single malt with like Paul. I love having a single malt with like my mum's husband, Simon. And it's like the important things. I've never thought of the idea of a cigar to bring people together. And I love that that's what you were saying. And it's like, I know you guys did the Blackberry and Ranch event, and we couldn't make it to support that. And there's a lot of brilliant veteran-owned brands there. A lot of really good friends in the podcast.
Weak excuse.
Yeah, and a lot of previous, and I wasn't allowed out. A lot of previous guests of the podcast, but some of the videos, some of the footage of all the blokes around the fire having a whiskey and a cigar, it was like, I get it. Do you know what I mean? Yes. I absolutely get it. It's not just a celebration cigar. It's not just this was a big moment, baby, wedding, all that kind of stuff. It's like, this is just a lads together having a cigar. And I thought, yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Say that. And on the first night when we all rocked up on Friday, and I think it was a fantastic event and run by Blackberry, and hats off to them. And I think we'll definitely be doing the next one. The first night we were all around a campfire, having a couple of tins and chewing the fat, taking the mickey out of each other, and cat badge wise. So that old banter side again. And then within the first hour, the conversation was like, I've never had a cigar, or I don't like cigars. And I was halfway through my first one. At that point, James pulled out a box of Trident cigars, the lad who runs Blackberry, and goes, lad, I want to do this, and I think I want everybody to do this. So he actually pushed it on it, and within the first hour of us all being there, everybody had a stick in their hand, everybody had a drink in their hand, and we were chatting about what a cigar is, what a drink is, and I think all our brands. We were learning media. We were learning who started what. And like you say, some of them brands had been on your podcast before. And a lot of it was a first time meet for us. So the Gibraltar Trading Company lads, Clipper. You've then got sorry, combat clipper. I apologise. You've got Lockwood Smocks, Kit Pest, and the canines, and all of us together, it just erupted, and we next thing, the rope come out and blokes were getting lassoed, and pretending to be horses, and it does, and it just breaks down that bit, and it was a fantastic event, and yeah, definitely, I think you've got to be in it next year, mate. Definitely be in it.
Yeah, we're definitely. And as I say, I will be getting some cigars for Paul and I, for us to choke on them until you tell us how to do it properly, and then we can enjoy it properly. Okay, so we're looking at closing off the podcast. Okay, it's been fascinating, and hearing all your story and a lot of your struggles with things like import, HMRC, and all that kind of stuff has been fascinating. But I just want to ask you like one final bit of advice, and I'll offer it up to both of you. What's the one bit of advice you would give to someone starting a business?
You first, Nick. Or do you want me to go?
I think everybody will say, if it was easy, everybody will do it. You've got to look at the market, do your research, and be unique. You are unique, and what you are, and what you sell. If you do something that somebody's already doing it, why are you doing it, and why and what makes you different from that other brand or that other product? At that Blackbone event, there were a mix of different items from all over the world that were brought into one, and it was that uniqueness. Why are we unique? We're veterans. We're doing something different, and it's our take, and we're also giving back. And the great part about the veteran community is the support that you can get, where you can just call up and say, "Hey, how did you do this?" And Combat Clippers, that lad is phenomenal, really, really good. How he now gives business advice on it, so certainly worth listening to.
Yeah. Shout out Teague, man. Teague's a top bloke. And what about you, Hugh?
For me, I'd probably say your network is your net worth. Like I've got friends that are millionaires and fucking all sorts, but they just speaking to people and hearing what they've gone through can help you avoid similar situations that we've been through. So like for the cigars, for example, we speak to like big companies and be like, oh, what, what's this, what's that? And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry about that. We've fucked up there before. And you're like, within the veteran community, like I'm learning more so now than ever. Like Nick's great at like networking. I've been super busy recently, but I'm excited to like meet you all in person, get hands on, and actually know we should start winning all together, because all these other major companies are just bleeding people dry. So let's actually build a community out of it and go for it.
Absolutely love it. Listen, Nick, Hugh, thank you so much for giving up your evening to come on the podcast. It has been a fascinating insight into cigars and into your business, and we wish you all the very best going forward. And looking forward to meet you in person on Sunday, the 9th of November, Nick.
You certainly will.
On horse guard.
You might not be looking forward. Well, you might be looking forward to it, but you're going to be recovering from it.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, Jack.